Hi everyone, today's video is really simple and straightforward. I'm just going to be talking about how to correctly prep a calligraphy nib. A lot of people don't realize when you first buy your calligraphy nibs that they actually have a very thin layer of oil on the outside of them. It's just a protective layer that keeps the nib in good shape up until the point that it's used. So I'm going to show you what happens when we try to use a calligraphy nib that still has the protective layer of oil on it. So I'm inserting this real quick, and I am going to show you an example of trying to use this. All right, and you're gonna notice that it does not hold very much ink at all, hardly any, and it tends to actually group up on the nib because oil and liquid, most liquids obviously separate, so it's not a great combination. Your writing's gonna be super scratchy and you're hardly gonna be able to get any letters out. So let's go ahead and clean that off real quick. Any extra ink that's on there. And I'm going to show you a trick that helps you prep the nib so that you can get way better ink flow and make the most of your nib. Alright, so a lot of people prefer to do this step with a lighter instead of matches. I personally hate lighters, so I try to avoid them. I always seem to burn myself. So I have matches here. Another technique for this is actually to stick your nib in a potato, I kid you not, for like 5 to 10 minutes, and that somehow removes a layer of oil as well. So when I'm prepping nibs for workshops, I tend to use the potato method because it's a lot quicker, but if you just have one nib, then this will work just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and light this match, and I'm just gonna hold the match next to the nib if it doesn't go out. Wow, that was super unsuccessful. All right, let's try that again. All right, so you just hold the nib above it and gently move it along the surface. You'll notice that the nib, the metal might blacken a little more than it is, but this is fine because you're not actually doing damage to the metal. You're just using heat to remove the oil layering on the outside. All right, perfect. All right, so obviously be really careful. Don't touch your nib after you've done this immediately because it's gonna be super hot. But in a second here, I'm gonna go ahead and dip the nib in the ink again to give it a second try to see how the calligraphy works this time. And please excuse the lawn machines in the background. They're doing something outside my apartment complex. All right, and as you can tell, I was able to get the full word hello out and then the full word friend out without any sort of kind of scratching or mess ups in the middle of there. And I actually still have ink left on the end of the nib, which is hard to see because this nib is a dark blue color and my ink is black. So there's not much contrast for you to be able to see. But that I'm obviously cleaning a whole bunch of ink off that didn't get used there. And that's basically a quick overview of how to prep a calligraphy nib so that it actually holds the ink and writes correctly. Otherwise, you're going to be left very, very frustrated when you're trying to learn calligraphy for the first time, because the nib won't hold ink right. So the nib I was using today is a Browse nib, also called the Blue Pumpkin. So I've linked it below if you guys want to try that one. All right, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and have a great rest of your week.